Hello and welcome back to the G5 Family channel. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks for clicking into this video. There's a million other videos you could be watching right now, and so it makes me very happy that you clicked into this one. So today I'm going to be talking about a topic that might seem a little less about us guys, but believe it or not, this could be a real valuable video for you. So whether you are a single guy, you're moving over to the Philippines on a tourist visa, hoping to, find the Filipina of your dreams, or maybe you just want to live in the Philippines, whatever the case may be, you might be surprised to know that in terms of getting a maid service, a housekeeper, what they call a helper here in the Philippines is actually very, very commonplace. And not only is it commonplace, but it's extremely affordable. In the US, hiring, a housekeeper or maid service that's a luxury that only rich people can afford. But here in the Philippines, having a housekeeper is kind of like having a car. It's not necessary to have a car, especially here in the Philippines. I can grab one of these motor cabs for 15 pesos and go anywhere I need to go. But having a car is so much nicer. You jump in, all of your stuff's in the car, your sunglasses are in the car, and you can beat around and do whatever you need to do. Well, it's the same with a housekeeper. Now, I'm going to break down the reasons why, because you're probably looking at me and going, really? You're comparing having a housekeeper to having a car? Yeah, kind of, because as much as it's not absolutely necessary to have a car, it's not necessary to have a housekeeper either. So while this may not be one of your top list concerns or considerations, I thought I would share this with you anyway, just to let you know what your options are, once you arrive here in the Philippines. Now, when we first moved to the Philippines, I was actually kind of taken back, surprised by the concept, because again, as I said, growing up in the US, having a housekeeper that's something only rich people can afford. So, I really didn't give it a second thought. But in 2020, when my wife was pregnant with our new baby, we began to actually give it some serious thought because, while I'm busy working, my wife's trying to take care of the house. Now a new baby's coming along. We started thinking about, maybe it's time for us to think more serious about hiring a helper. Now, as always, I like to use our personal experience as the example. Unfortunately for us, one of my wife's second cousins, I should say, was available and interested. And so we talked to her, we came to an agreement, and she moved in and started working. Now, it didn't take me no time whatsoever to immediately begin to see the value in this proposition. So I'll break it down for you. You're probably wondering what the cost is. Of course, that's the number one question. But I will tell you for now that the cost was minimal, especially considering the value. And now, one thing to take into consideration, here in the Philippines, they have this thing called a 13th month salary. And the basis of that is simple. It's, there's 12 months in a year. And if a month is 4 weeks, there's 52 weeks in a year. So do the math, there's your 13th month. So we just paid her a weekly salary on Saturdays, and that alleviated the confusion about a 13th month salary. As far as the value points, okay, now it doesn't take a rocket science to realize that housekeeping is the number one task. And by the way, she worked a 6-day week. That's normal. Monday through Saturday, she would take care of the house. She'd clean the kitchen, clean the bathrooms, including doing the laundry, take care of cleaning the floors, you name it. She took care, even so much as going outside, cleaning the carport, just taking care of the house, keeping the house clean. So that was her number one task. And then of course, the next obvious task, or maybe not so obvious, but the next task is cooking. We brought in the groceries, and within the first couple of weeks, we taught her, our favorite meals, taught her how to prepare and cook our favorite meals. But she took care of all of the food preparation, as well as the kids' snacks throughout the day and stuff like that. And of course, as part of her salary, or as part of the agreement, she we provided her food as well. That's just included. But again, as one of the values, I have to tell you, I am spoiled to getting up in the mornings to a hot pot of water for my coffee and my breakfast, my eggs made to order. I mean, it's you can't beat that. So housekeeping, cooking, food preparation, things like that. Number 3 on the list would be, running errands, which all of our bill pays, all of our collectors are cash. Our rent is cash, our electric is cash, our water bill is cash, our internet service is cash. All of these services are cash. And so for us to, get in the car and leave the house and drive into the city, while that's really not that big of a deal, I mean, it is a hassle and it's sort of disruptive if I'm trying to focus on work or something like that. So I give her a few pesos. She goes out, gets her a motor cab, and takes care of the errands for us. That's huge. That is so nice to have. I don't have to stand in line. I don't have to sweat to death in, non-air conditioned places, things like that. So having her run those errands are fantastic. And part of that too, I said earlier that we like to go and get our groceries. We will occasionally send her to the open market to pick up vegetables, things like that, because that's pretty straightforward. And with her being a Filipina, she gets the normal Filipino prices, whereas if I go to the market, I generally get the markup, the Kano price. So housekeeping, cooking, food prep, running errands. The next thing, and we didn't really hire her specifically to be a nanny to the kids. Now, some helpers will take that role and that responsibility, and she did as well, because with having the baby, having the 2 kids, there were times that my wife and I just needed to run out and take care of some business, or maybe we just wanted to go on a quick lunch date or whatever. She was great to take care of the kids, and they loved her and she loves them, and she's family, she's related, so it worked out really nicely. She takes care of their hair, she takes care of their snacks, and all of that. It's just really helpful. And then there's probably 100 other little things, like anything like answering the door if a package comes in, signing for a package, translating for me if my wife is gone and I need somebody's come to the house and they're asking about something, she translates. All of that's really helpful. And even me being sort of lazy, when I drive up in the car, she actually hears the car pull up and she'll run out and open the gates to the carport. So, it's just all of those little things just add up. So if you're following along, you're beginning to get the picture and really see the value of having a full-time helper, housekeeper. I mean, it's great. Now, before I get to the cost, what things cost, I do want to talk a little bit about some of the dynamics that can occur. Now, we were really blessed in that she's a relative. She's, my wife's second cousin, and there were no issues. But, if you're a single guy and you have a full-time female helper working for you, and you bring your girlfriend to your house or whatever, you need to take into consideration, those relationship dynamics. In our case, we're married and with family. She had her space. We respected her privacy. She respected our privacy. And so, everything was prim and proper, so no unwanted drama. So as I opened up at the top of the video, it's, having a helper is very common. It's very affordable. And there's a real value, especially at the cost. So what is the cost? Well, as I promised, I'll share that. Now, I do need to put a little bit of definition, depending on the individual, depending on that individual's skill set and experience and things like that. In addition to where we live, in metropolitan city areas, the rates might be a little bit higher. In the province where we live, the rates are a little bit less. And we paid her the going rate. And so what is the going rate? Well, you can get all of that 6 days a week for roughly 5,000 to 6,000 pesos per month, plus, her food, which is nominal. And she was happy. Now, I keep speaking in past tense. She just actually resigned a few weeks ago, and it was good timing for us because the baby is now 18 months, and my wife was like, you know, it's okay, I'm ready to pick back up and take care of the house. And I got to tell you, my wife is like a champ. I mean, I think she's getting help from the older kids, so maybe that's what it is. But I really can't tell the difference. I still get my eggs in the morning and still have dinner in the evening. So, you know, so it's actually worked out great. But the other thing about it is she was a lot like family. I mean, she really blended in. When we would travel, she would go with us. And of course, as part of the agreement, I would cover her expenses as well as ours. But it was really a pleasure having her, you know, work for us. She worked for us for about 1.5 years. And who knows, we might hire a helper again sometime. But for now, we are finding ourselves not really having a need for it. Kind of like before the baby was born. 18 months later, we don't really have as much need for a helper. As far as the running of the errands and things like that, my wife has sort of assumed that role, and she takes the kids and they consider it an outing. So, you know, so things have a great way of always working themselves out, and it's all good. It's all good. All right, well, that's it. That's kind of a short and to the point video, but I thought a valuable quick talk on a topic that you might not have even thought about. So I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching the video as always. Thank you. If you've already subscribed, thank you for that. If you haven't, then why not? If you like the video, if you like this information, please click that like button. It really helps us out, and we'll see you in the next video. All right, thanks. Hello and welcome back to the G5. People love honking as they go by.